The PGA Tour's momentum shift continues. Not only has it switched up its format to compete against LIV Golf, but it's also managed to retain one of its key players in Hideki Matsuyama. And in this video, we're going to talk about the details of his Saudi League proposal and why he chose to snub Greg Norman. So without further ado, let's dive straight into it. First up, Hideki Matsuyama is incredibly important for the tour. Hideki Matsuyama made headlines when he broke into the golfing scene over a decade ago with his Japan Golf Tour win. And ever since that initial boom, he hasn't shown any signs of slowing down. Like, he's already won 8 times on the PGA Tour, including that crucial Zozo Championship run earlier this season. But of course, many other golfers have done similar things too. What sets him apart from the rest, though, is the fact that he's the first Japanese man to win a major. So with his Masters title last year, he's kinda turned into a senior figure on the Japanese golf front. You know, kinda like a role model for young, aspiring players emerging from the country. As a matter of fact, we've already got a couple of examples in Kita Nakajima and Takumi Kanaya, who have been massively influenced by Matsuyama's career. Now, obviously, it's easy to undermine a player for not consistently picking up major championships, like, say, Cameron Smith. That being said, the amount of influence, sponsorships, and fans that the 30-year-old brings to the tour are incredibly important. Also, let's not forget that in spite of his already established legacy, he's still pretty young and has got a lot more golf left in him, which again raises his value even more. So it's not a surprise that both the PGA Commissioner, Jay Monahan, and LIV CEO, Greg Norman, are locking horns to secure his signature. Next up, Matsuyama was set to be the highest paid Saudi League player. Now, the thing with the Japanese ace is that even though he may not be the best golfer in the entire world, his value precedes his skill. Like, we've already mentioned how vital he is for attracting audiences and young prospects from the Asia-Pacific region. So it wasn't a big surprise when LIV Golf approached him to join their ranks. What was surprising, though, was how highly they valued him, especially in comparison to the rest of their roster. We mean, a $580 million deal is actually pretty insane, and in a way, that's essentially worth twice as much as the Saudi League's biggest star, Phil Mickelson. Of course, you could debate whether Matsuyama is a better player than the 52-year-old, but again, he's not being valued for his skill. Besides, much like Smith or Koepka, he's got many years of top-level golf ahead of him, so it's only fair that he gets a massive paycheck to make him commit too. After all, if Tiger Woods can get $1 billion, then we're sure that the Japanese prodigy is worth at least half that. Now, the rumors are that he has apparently decided to reject the move, to stay with the PGA Tour. Having said that, things aren't exactly as simple as they seem. We mean, Bryson DeChambeau's whole saga kinda went down a similar route way back in February, and we all know how that turned out, so it would be a bit premature to rule out this move. Now, Matsuyama didn't attend the PGA Tour's big meeting. Okay, so the talk of the town's obviously been the top golfer meeting that was spearheaded by Tiger Woods, and the major shakeup that came out of it. Like, it was actually so significant that it'll probably go down in the history books as the turning point in the battle between the Tour and LIV Golf. Also, 16 of the top 20 members of the PGA were present in it, including the likes of Rory McIlroy. But the thing is that the meeting was an invite-only affair, and apparently, Matsuyama wasn't invited. Now, this obviously added even more fuel to the fire, and lent some credence to the fact that he was leaving. After all, we've seen this happen over and over again with golfers that are just on the verge of switching sides. Plus, the other member who didn't attend was Cameron Smith, who's also heavily rumored to be joining Greg Norman's ranks soon. So it's definitely hard to overlook these things and just accept that the Japanese ace decided to stay loyal. We mean, he would have joined the tour's meeting if he was really gonna play an integral role in its future, right? Besides, it's hard to believe that anyone would turn down $580 million and then proceed to not show up at one of the most pivotal moments in the history of the association. Oh, and his form has suddenly dipped as well, which again is a bit suspicious. But there could still be a twist twist in Hideki Matsuyama's tale. Now, it's easy to get lost within the rumor mill and forget that golfers are still humans, and sometimes things just happen for no particular reason. We mean, okay, fine, he wasn't invited to the Tiger Woods meeting, but there's every chance that he was sent an invitation card and just couldn't show up. Also, we've got to remember that Matsuyama doesn't really speak much English, and that big round table was dominated by English speakers, so perhaps he wouldn't have had much input there anyway. Of course, you could always have an interpreter next to you dealing with those things and conveying your messages. That said, if you've already got almost 30 people in a single session, do you even have time to deal with these formalities? Like, surely not every single person would have spoken up. Oh, and then there's the fact that Matsuyama probably trusts his fellow tour members to make the right decision. After all, he's been with them for a long time now and hasn't shown even an inch of resentment toward them. In fact, if anything, he actually seems to be loving his life with the PGA and is also encouraging other young Japanese golfers to join him. Besides, it's not like he's fully abandoned them. We mean, he did still take part in the third round of the FedEx Cup, despite having a rather poor outing. So for all intents and purposes, until it's officially announced, we wouldn't hedge our bets on him abandoning the association. Besides, Matsuyama is a very straightforward golfer. With all the drama that we're being treated to these days, assumptions about golfers can kinda run wild. We mean, even if they are switching sides to LIV Golf, they're still seasoned pros at the end of the day. And most people don't throw tantrums like some of the more popular figures on the scene anyway. Now, among those people, Hideki Matsuyama is perhaps the least controversial figure that you'll find. Like, the man is actually hyper-focused on his game and rarely ever gets involved in anything else. So, to theorize about him plotting his next nefarious plan to somehow betray the PGA is kinda disingenuous of us. In fact, we wouldn't be surprised if all he's doing right now is showing up to the course, doing his thing, and going back home with no distractions. Plus, there's the fact that he's one of the most well-respected Japanese athletes out there, which means that he carries certain values with him that just don't align with Greg Norman's league. For instance, he probably wouldn't want to be associated with the labels that come with joining the Saudi League. Oh, and he probably doesn't want to leave the tour for a less competitive series either. We mean, he's still got a lot of unfinished business here because, well, he's kind of paving the way for so many stars from Japan. So it'd be a bit weird if he just forgot about his legacy as a mentor and left everything behind. And finally, it makes sense to stay with the PGA Tour right now anyway. No one wants to willingly hop on to a sinking ship. And with all the talks of joining LIV Golf for big money, Hideki Matsuyama's probably in a similar state of mind. After all, the past few weeks haven't proven to be super positive for Greg Norman's side. For instance, the tour's new set of rules with the elevated events and bigger purses means that they're essentially copying the Saudi League. But on top of that, they've got one thing that the Australian just can't seem to find: legitimacy. Don't get us wrong, we're sure that LIV can establish itself as a big golfing entity within the next few years. It's just that the PGA has been around for such a long time that everyone in the world knows exactly what they're about. Plus, they've got that pretty insane political influence to pull the strings too. So while they're playing the same game, the field that they're standing on is definitely higher than the competition. And if you're someone like Matsuyama, you want to stay within the most competitive atmosphere with the best players. Besides, bigger purses and no-cut tournaments kinda eliminate Norman's financial advantage anyway, which means that the Japanese prodigy could literally make up that quote-unquote lost $580 million by just playing on the tour for a few more years. What do you think? Will Matsuyama stick to his guns and stay? Or is that LIV Golf deal too good for him to refuse? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.